there's a stillness in the night sky that most of us never notice. A quiet that stretches for millions of kilometers, where light travels unbothered and the stars seem almost eternal. But for the
Look at that
astronomers
trajectory. It's
watching
accelerating.
through
Are you sure the filters are
IATLAS,
calibrated?
that
Positive.
stillness
Impact in
felt
T-minus 5 minutes.
charged, heavy. For months, teams across the globe had been tracking this tiny, unassuming speck of rock.
That's
a comet,
impossible.
like
The vitals are
countless
failing.
others,
It can't be.
drifting through
Reroute
the
the primary feed.
approaching perihelion.
We're showing
its
full cardiac
closest
arrest.
pass to the sun. Scientists expected predictability, a simple measurement, routine, a light curve that would rise, fall, and behave like physics promised. And yet, when the first data arrived, it didn't behave at all. The screen flickered to life in a dimly lit observatory in Hawaii. A single line of numbers, a curve representing light collected across hours. At first glance, it should have been comforting, smooth, predictable, but it wasn't. It twisted, uneven, jagged, in ways no natural rotation or reflection should allow. It wasn't a fluke. The pattern repeated. The scientists leaned closer, rubbed their tired eyes, whispered to one another, "That can't be right." Outside, the night sky was silent. Inside, the room hummed with tension. Calculators were double-checked, software recalculated, telescopes recalibrated, every precaution taken, and still, the anomaly persisted. This was no ordinary comet. The curve didn't just wobble, it pulsed, almost like a heartbeat trapped inside the cosmic storm. Peaks and troughs, aligned in patterns that made no sense to nature, a rise here, a dip there, a rhythm subtle enough to be missed, yet impossible to ignore once noticed. Astronomers aren't easily shaken. They spend careers chasing anomalies, learning to distinguish the random from the remarkable. But there's a moment, rare, fleeting, when the universe reminds you that it isn't predictable, that even the smallest rock, millions of kilometers away, can make you pause and question everything. For the first team to notice, that moment came with a quiet shock, in a room lit only by the soft glow of monitors. A graduate student whispered, "It looks alive." The words hung in the air like a fragile glass bubble, half science, half fright. Everyone froze, even the veteran astronomers. Those who had spent decades scanning the heavens felt the same shiver run down their spine. It wasn't a sudden flash. There was no dramatic explosion of light, no comet tail glowing unnaturally in the night. Just a line on a screen, moving with a rhythm that shouldn't exist. Subtle, yet insistent, patient, waiting. Across continents, other observatories began reporting similar observations. Spain, South Africa, Chile, Italy. The data was consistent. The light curve repeated, precise, like a signal buried within the comet's humble exterior. And as the pulse became undeniable, the room went silent. Not a single conversation, not a single laugh, only the soft hum of machines, the occasional tap of a keyboard, the low, almost sacred focus of minds trying to make sense of something that made no sense. They ran simulations. They checked for instrument error. They accounted for cosmic dust, solar glare, rotation, and reflection. Every possible explanation was considered, recalculated, and discarded. Nothing fit. 3I Atlas should have been predictable, ordinary, boring, even, but it wasn't. Not anymore. There's a strange kind of fear that creeps in when science stops explaining and observation takes over. Not the fear of danger, not the fear of the unknown as a story, but the quiet, existential fear of realizing that something so small and so distant can hold a complexity and intelligence. Perhaps that humanity hasn't yet learned to read. One astronomer later described the feeling as standing before a door slowly opening in a silent house. You don't know who or what stands behind it. You just know that something is there, watching, waiting. The light curve continued to pulse through the night. Rise, dip, like a metronome in space. Each movement measured, deliberate, incomprehensible, and yet it was beautiful, almost hypnotic. A cosmic heartbeat echoing across the void, untouched by human time, by human expectation. Coffee went cold on desks. Chairs were left half pulled out. Monitors glowed blue against the dim walls. And in every observatory, eyes remained fixed on the data, unwilling to look away. They had entered the first stage of a discovery that would change everything. The moment when a simple observation turns into a question so big, so alien, that it leaves the familiar world behind. And still, the question lingered, unanswered. Why? Why did a comet, a rock wandering through the solar system for millions of years, pulse with such precision? Why did its light curve refuse to follow the messy, chaotic patterns of nature? Why now? No one could answer, but everyone felt it. The comet wasn't just passing through the solar system. It was making itself known, subtly, patiently, deliberately. And as the night wore on, and the first light of dawn brushed across the sky, a quiet understanding spread among those who had witnessed it. Something was different. Something was awake. Something was waiting. 3I/Atlas wasn't ordinary, and the universe had just started to speak. The screens dimmed as telescopes powered down for the day. But the image lingered in the minds of the scientists. The pulse, the heartbeat, the impossible rhythm that no model, no calculation, no law of physics could explain. A small, silent flicker in the night sky had reminded humanity that even the emptiest reaches of space could hold secrets, and that sometimes the waiting sky isn't empty at all. And as they left the observatories that morning, still rubbing sleep from their eyes, one thought echoed in every mind. This was only the beginning, the first chapter of a story they didn't yet understand had begun, and somewhere, far beyond the sun, 3IATLAS drifted onward, pulsing, waiting, watching.